What it'll be? Truth or dare? What's up, universe, and welcome back to the web's first must-see comic and nerd culture show. Welcome to Comic YOUniverse, where I'm your host, as always, C-Dubs. And yes, I'm riding solo on this video. And guys, today, the 31-day Halloween horror movie challenge continues. And I suffered through a movie so that you don't have to. But I will have some positives about this movie. Now, as the opening did allude to, we're talking about Truth or Dare. But not that 2018 one from Blumhouse, which you would assume would be the better version of a Truth or Dare movie, correct? But it so was not. Because the movie that I saw here today was actually far better. Still not good, still not great, but far better than Blumhouse. And it was brought to us by Sci-Fi. And it was actually released in the movie theaters. And it actually had Leather Landcamp in it. I know, right? Yes, from Freddy Krueger, Nightmare on Elm Street fame. Yes, it was so much better than that crappy-ass Blumhouse film. But let's get real. It was just your run-of-the-mill, kids get in trouble, kids are dying, crap fest of a movie, if you will. Jump scares galore, this, that, and the third. So I wrote some notes here that I'm just going to try to touch on because I did see this movie a couple of days ago, just didn't get around to making the video. So I just got to kind of bring my thoughts all together for you guys. Believe it or not, this Truth or Dare movie, again, 2017, it was made. It was directed by Nick Simon, again, produced by Sci-Fi, starring Cassandra Siderio as Alex, who's the main actress in the film, Brittany Spry as Maddie, Mason Dye as Tyler, who is the major love interest, if you will, and Alex Lemire as Jesse. Those are probably the top 5. Now, there's a cast of I think 8 of them all together, but all the other guys just kind of really don't matter, and they die off relatively quickly into the film, if you will. Funny enough, man, Google has this user score at an 83%, and I think that 83% is really just based off of how bad the Blumhouse one was, which you would think would be the better of the versions. IMDb has this at 5.2. Rotten Tomatoes didn't even rate the damn movie, but the audience rating has it at a solid 38, and I would give it myself a 2 out of 5, but if I'm comparing it to the other movie, I'd give it a 4 out of 5. So this movie just stars a bunch of nobodies, if you will. They all get together at this house that has some history, where some grotesque things have happened in the past, and there was one survivor from the bloody murders that had happened there. So they all get together, they're drinking, they're just celebrating, having a good time, about to have a party. And what do teenagers do? Smoking weed, drinking, and they want to play some Truth or Dare. So you have your stereotypes, if you will, but what made this one so much better than the Blumhouse one is that I believe that these friends were friends because they seemed to have actual issues. They weren't all perfect models, if you will. You did have the bitchy one, you did have the jock, you did have the guy who was in the movies, you did have the fat kid that was your friend, you had the nice guy, you had it all. You know how you had the nice wholesome, you had the 2 best friend buddies, but one did something to the other, if you will, that pissed them off, or that came out as irrelevant, that was revealed through all the drama that was going on. So you had your stereotype tropes, and of course, like I said in the beginning, it was filled with a lot of jump scares, but there was something to it. There was something underlying that could have been good. Good, not great, but it could have been a good movie. So they all get together to play Truth or Dare, and the first thing that comes up is truth. And it's like, did you kiss so-and-so? And she's like, fuck this, I'm not playing, I'm done. So she finally breaks down and admits the truth. Okay, and she apologizes, and that kind of breaks up the game. And right off the bat, we're like, oh no, sorry. The first one was a dare, and they dared a girl to kiss another girl. And then the next one was a truth, and then it was like, did you kiss so-and-so? And it's like, no, fuck that, I'm done, I'm playing. And that broke up the game right off the bat, and everyone kind of started going their own separate ways. And then They all got pissed off at each other. It's like, who told? I never told anybody. It was a mistake. He's like, did you do this? And the guy who rented out the home, okay, who set up the party, is getting blamed for this because it was his idea to play Truth or Dare, and he had little index cards with all the dares written on them. Okay, and he handed out to other people to write some dares, and he shuffled them all up, and that's how you picked what your dare was. So he's like, you did this? He's like, nah, man, all I did was rent this house. I don't know what the hell's going on. So he's like, screw this, and he pulls over the next card to see what it is, and it was a dare to place his hand on a stove burner, and he's like, screw this shit, I'm not doing this. This is ridiculous. I'm a doctor, I'm in medicine. I'm going to be a surgeon. I need my hands. I'm not doing it. This is ridiculous. So lo and behold, he storms off to go get a beer out the kitchen, and all of a sudden, a chair pulls up. He sees the chair slide in front of him to block his way, and then the stove just kind of slides over to him with the hot burner, and he trips, and he lands with his hand on the burner. So right off the bat, you get this Final Destination vibe from it as well, and I genuinely liked the first set of, those movies, where you don't know what's going to happen. It's not something you can just combat with. There's rules. You got to figure out the rules and all of this jazz. So it comes down to, if you don't basically, and that's the tagline of the movie, do the dare or the dare does you. If somehow finds a way to accomplish the goal, if you don't do it, you're going to die, essentially. So all the friends figured out, but they also, what makes this movie much better is there's a realistic approach to it, to where I know if me and my buddies were in that situation, we'd be trying to figure out ways to get through the dares where we got minimal to no damage, where no one got hurt or died from whatever the dare was. We would try to help each other out and figure out ways around all of this jazz. Okay, so that was really cool to kind of see that, play out. And then when the first person really dies, they kind of just call the cops, they leave, and the entity in the house that was keeping them there allowed them. That was another thing. The entity kept them all in because, of course, they're like, fuck this, we're getting out of here. Doors closed, windows were barricaded, boarded up all of a sudden, and things to that nature. So as the movie went on, they all went their own way, and then, the dares started happening in their everyday lives. And as they started getting knocked off one by one, a couple of the groups got back together. It's like, we got to figure out what's going on. Didn't so-and-so say that there was a survivor? They track down the survivor, and the survivor is Heather Landcamp, which I think is absolutely awesome. Nancy from A Nightmare on Elm Street, one of my favorite horror actresses, one of my favorite horror heroes, if you will. And it was just so awesome to see her there. And in the film, she does have some prosthetic makeup on her face to make her look like she had suffered basic burns. Basically, the last dare of hers was to pour a bucket of acid over her head. And she was smart enough to concoct like some sort of paste to place over her body to protect her from the acid until she could wash it off. So that was really smart of her, and that's how she survived it. And she basically tells them all, you guys need to do this. You guys need to work together to finish the dare, otherwise it's going to knock you off one by one. And she tells them all work together. So they go back to the house, and again, they work even harder to outsmart the demon that's doing this. It's basically a mischief demon that causes these things to happen. And what's really cool is the demon one-ups them and starts changing the rules, but not necessarily cheating. He's just like playing the odds. So he makes them play Russian roulette. He's like, hey, there's 5 of you. Here's a bullet, 3 shots. One of you is going to get it, type of thing. So, and it was really cool to see them at the very end. It's the 2 best friends rekindling. He's like, I'm sorry, let me do it. And basically they had to cut off 7 body parts, so you get a little bit of torture porn and gory and things to that nature from this movie. And at the very end, it seems as if they don't make it. It just kind of cuts to black. That was probably the biggest downfall to the movie. But overall, it is watchable. And again, if you've seen the Blumhouse one, going into this one, you just automatically have your brain turned off. You're ready to die. And you'll honestly be pleasantly surprised, because this one is far better than that one. But it is not a good movie by any chance of the matter. So if you guys are a sucker for bad horror movies and torturing yourself like me, check it out. If you've already seen it, check it out. If you're a fan of the Blumhouse one, check this one out, because I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. Otherwise, stay away. Alright, Universe, let me know if you've seen it. Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe on this video. Give us some suggestion for some movies. We still got a couple of days left of Halloween, and I'm going to get the rest of these reviews out to you guys. I'm sorry. Like I always say, life finds a way to get in the way. Till next time, guys, I'll see you in the universe. Peace.